Let's move ahead and take a look at Nmap, which comes from Network Mapper and is a network discovery and security auditing tool widely used by network administrators for many types of scanning. It's a complex open source application that maybe deserves its own dedicated course in my opinion. There are a variety of scans that can be performed using Nmap. I want to mention just a few of them. TCP SYN scan is the default and most popular scan option for good reasons. It can be performed quickly, scanning thousands of ports per second on a fast network if there are no firewalls that restrict the scanning. It is also unobstructive and stealthy since it never completes TCP connections. This technique is often referred to as half-open scanning because it doesn't open a full TCP connection. Nmap sends a SYN packet as if it is going to open a real connection and then waits for a response. A SYN and an acknowledgement indicates that the port is listening, so it's open, while a reset indicates that the port is closed. If no response is received, the port is marked as filtered. Keep in mind that you need root privileges to perform this type of scan. If you don't have root privileges, you can still perform another type of TCP scanning called TCP connect scan. Let's go to the terminal and see some examples. First, let's check if Nmap is installed by executing Nmap without any option. And it says command nmap not found and gives instructions about how to install it. On Debian and Ubuntu-based distributions, you can install it by simply running apt install nmap. And it's done. You can also install Nmap for Windows or Mac, and if you want a graphical interface, install Nmap, which is the official Nmap security scanner GUI. This is Nmap. Let's try a TCP SYN scan. If you are root, this will be the default scanning type. I'm root. Nmap and the IP address of the other Linux machine. And we see a lot of information about the scan and the destination host. We see how much time the scan took, the MAC address of the destination host, and the open ports. By default, Nmap scans the most common 1000 ports for each protocol, TCP and UDP. We see that 4 ports are open and 996 closed ports. If you are not root, you cannot perform this scan. I open up another terminal where I don't have root privileges and try to scan the host again, this time specifying -SS, which indicates a TCP SYN scan. Nmap, -S, a lowercase s, and an uppercase s, and the IP address of the destination. And it says that I don't have the required privileges. What I can do is to perform another type of TCP scan called connect scan. This is the default for non-root users. I simply run nmap and the IP address of the destination. Or I can specify -s and an uppercase T. It's the same. Earlier I've said that by default Nmap scans the most common 1000 ports for each protocol. What if a service has been moved to a non-standard port? like SSH is listening on port 50,005. On the destination, let's change the SSH daemon listening port to 50,005. This is the configuration file of SSH daemon, and I'll write port and the new value, 50,005. That's the new port. I'm saving the file and then restart the service. Now SSH is listening on port 50,005. Nmap will not scan the port by default, and you cannot discover that the service is running. Let's scan the destination again. And we don't see that SSH is running. It didn't display the port as being open. In fact, it didn't scan the port at all. What I can do is specify the port manually using -p option. Let's scan the target again and specify the port manually. Nmap, -p, and the ports I want to scan. Let's say 20, 22, 80, and 50,005. And the destination, the same IP address. Perfect. Ports 20 and 22 are closed, and 80 and 50,005 are open. We see that the port is open, but it doesn't say who's listening on the port. What I can do now is add another option that does version detection, and that's -s-v. So -s-v, an uppercase V. And it's much better. It's displaying a lot of information about the services that are running on those ports. And if you want to scan all ports, you use -p- option like this. It's scanning all ports. By the way, this can take a very long time. If you press the Enter key while scanning, it will say what % of the entire scan process has been already performed. And it's done 5%. I'm stopping Nmap by pressing Ctrl+C. This was all about TCP scans. Other types of scans you can perform are UDP and ICMP scans. UDP port scanning is generally slower and more difficult than TCP. UDP port scanning is activated with the -SU option. Nmap -SU localhost. I'm scanning the localhost for UDP ports. And this is the result. And to perform an ICMP ping scan, use -SN or -SP. Nmap -SN. Both letters are lowercase. And I'll scan an entire network. And it has displayed information about all hosts that are up in this network. This is the local area network. Okay, that's all about Nmap for the moment. There's a lot of information about Nmap, but I think there are the most important things you should know. I'll attach to this lecture some resources about Nmap in case you want to dive deeper into it. Thank you.